Well, hey everyone, we are back and I'm here with Brian Sheen. How are you, Brian?
I'm wonderful. It's a glorious day. It's so nice to be here with you, Shelley.
Oh, you know what? You and I have been chatting and I'm so enjoying conversing back and forth with you. So tell us about your book, Accessing Your Inner Pharmacy. That's such a fascinating topic.
Well, you know, today there are 1 billion prescriptions being written in the United States alone. 100 million prescriptions alone for antidepressants and ADHD drugs. And the interesting thing about this, and there's some wonderful medications, and don't get me wrong,
right.
and if you're diabetic and you need insulin, and if you have certain other aspects of it, I don't want anybody to get the idea that I'm saying no to medications.
Sure.
There's some wonderful life-saving medications. But I think we have to understand for many of the psychological aspects that they're calling disorders, everything from depression and ADHD and anxiety and other types of things that have this huge emotional content to them,
right.
is that these are really the worst things that you can do, because these medications, these antidepressants, these drugs, 40% of the people taking them have negative side effects, which include something quite extreme, such as suicide. But anxiety and insomnia,
right.
and stunting of growth and being wooden and all of these types of things, cutting down on a person's sex drive, putting on extra type of weight.
Yes.
There's so many negative side effects for 40% of the people. I believe that there's something that should be done first to look at the cause that's causing this imbalance in the system. Why isn't the system in homeostasis?
Right.
Why is it functioning? At one time in its life, it was doing fine.
Yes.
Something changed.
Right.
Okay? And when you understand what that is, then you can address it at the level of cause, make those changes, and then you'll find out what the reasons are, and that's what I do in Accessing Your Inner Pharmacy. Let's address what's going on, what's causing the interference, what's causing something called TMS, tension myositis syndrome. And this is where all of a sudden there's a constriction in the cardiovascular system.
Right, okay.
So that the amount of blood and oxygen moving through the cardiovascular system, I just coincidentally have with me an example in my bag. I kind of keep this around.
These, this is exciting, these surprises. You just pull it right out of your
Yeah,
pocket.
I just pull it out of
There
my
we
pocket.
go. Okay.
Because, you know, people don't realize that we have this cardiovascular system in our body
Right.
that is 60,000 miles long.
Oh, my goodness.
If you would take the arteries, the veins,
Yeah.
capillaries, 60, so some of it is so thin
No,
you
you're
can only
kidding,
see
right?
it. No,
It's that much?
No, 60,000.
Oh.
I thought I was kidding when I first read it, and I said, this is fake news.
Right.
No, it's not. It was real in study after study, but some of it is so microscopic, it's hair thin and you can only see under a microscope. We know that there are these tubes
Yes.
that move through our body, that circulate all the biochemicals, the blood, the oxygen, in order to keep our cells alive, to remove the waste, and this is how we function. The problem is, as if this was a hose and water was going through it to a garden over here, if we put pressure on it, stress on it,
Yes.
and all of a sudden press it down, well, what's going to happen?
Well, it's not going to flow through there.
Exactly. And first what's going to happen is it's going to try and push it through, and
Okay.
it's going to put a lot of pressure on all of a sudden whatever it's pushing it through,
Right.
and all of a sudden now we have high blood pressure.
Okay, yes.
All of a sudden what now starts happening to the garden is it's not getting the water and it starts to die. So whatever it's feeding, whether it's feeding a tissues, whether it's feeding an organ, all of a sudden every time that we experience stress,
Yes.
real or imagined, of what's going on in our life, what we do is we send ourselves a signal to the biological system that we have,
Right.
that this is fight or flight. And we're going to constrict, we're going to stop our breathing, we're going to hold it in, we're going to stop our circulation. And what we do is we create a disorder, a dysfunction in our system,
Okay.
because now the body's going, I'm not getting the oxygen I need.
Right.
Uh-oh, danger, danger,
Well,
danger.
can I stop you a second?
Yeah.
Then, okay, so you're danger, 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 and you have your hose there. That clamps down further then. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, and what it does is self-perpetuates itself.
Right.
So once you predispose yourself with some type of overwhelming stress, in other words, your homeostasis has been knocked off balance, and you're feeling a little fear.
Right.
You're not feeling safe.
Right.
You're feeling uncertain.
Sure.
Because all it takes is just a little, and you clamp down a little, you reduce the flow, because 60,000 miles of these types of tubes are in our body. 60,000 miles. So it takes the littlest amount of stress, and all of a sudden somebody's just gritting down their teeth and okay, or they're like that, and they're just, and some people are so chronically in it, they don't know the difference anymore because they're in a chronic level of fear.